Good morning, 12th Street family. I hope evening. You're right. It is evening. I'm sorry. Good evening, 12th Street family. I hope you're enjoying the day. I know I have had my grandchildren over all day today, and we played games and watched movies and had a good time. We're going to start out this evening with a time of prayer, so we're going to take prayer requests. So, has anybody have any prayer requests? Let's see. I'm not sure. I am not sure what we have from Sunday as far as prayer requests go. I know we still have, who's the lady in West Virginia? Do you know who's in West Virginia? And I'm sure somebody out there knows who I'm talking about. So write that name down for prayer. Cindy says Kathy Klein is someone we need to mention in prayer. And I think we should mention our pastors. Obviously, they're not here tonight. That's why I'm here. And that's why Zach will be giving his testimony later, because they're both at Bear Lake Camp. And I hope you remember them. Pastor will be conducting some services. Pastor Thad will be conducting some services. And Pastor Carl is playing house husband along with Emily for the youth. They took a group of youth down there to serve in different capacities at Bear Lake. So keep them in mind as well. I would also mention COVID and the situation that's in our state, especially right now. State officials are looking at opening up schools. So please pray for the opening of schools. Uh-huh. Was that in Michigan? Okay, okay. I'm being told that we had 966 new cases today, which is high. But I heard that Grand Rapids has been brought down. They were, yeah. I think we're seeing a lot of new cases, but not a lot of deaths. Yeah. Don, do you have, we're getting ready to go to prayer. Do you have any prayer requests or know of any? Judy? Okay. Okay. Okay, so Judy Kilborn had knee issues Tuesday and went and had an x-ray, doesn't have the information yet. So Judy is someone that you want to keep in your prayers as well. So at this time, we're going to get in a group and we're going to pray, and I hope you will also get in the group there at your homes and pray. And then when we're done with the prayer time, Brendan will come up and introduce Zach, and Zach will give us his testimony. So let's go to prayer. So, respecting COVID, why don't we just kind of turn around? As a matter of fact, we could probably kneel or whatever. Yes, that's fine. So, maybe, Don, you know, what's the lady that stayed back in West Virginia? The lady that stayed back in West Virginia. Was it March? Was her last name March? prayer requests here in this group?
Traveling to Pennsylvania this weekend with the family.
You're traveling to Pennsylvania? Fun?
Yeah, my sister's baby shower. So
Okay.
good travel, I guess.
Okay. All right. Again, pastors are gone. I'll start and just go around. If you don't want to pray, just nudge the next guy or whatever.
Pass or whatever.
Yeah. And we'll just have a season of prayer.
Dear Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for the opportunity we have to come here and to fellowship. I thank you that Zach's here, ready to give us his testimony. He has a smile, and that makes me feel good. I'm always leery of people that want to give a testimony and have a frown. Testimony, I think, should be a joyous time, and I'm glad that Zach's here with a smile on his face. Father, I would ask that you would be with my family. School's coming up, and my children, most of my children have children in school systems, and so I would pray for our school system here in Michigan, and pray for our governor and the leadership that wise decisions can be made as far as opening up schools. I'm not wise enough to make those decisions, but I pray that there would be some wisdom in opening up those schools, that our children would get back to learning. I don't see how, as a nation, we can have our children out of school for much longer and expect them to be prepared to enter the job market in a number of years. So, Father, I would pray for that. And I pray for parents of children. There must be some anxiety there on the part of parents. And I pray that you would give peace and understanding to those parents, that no matter what decisions are made, you're still in control, and you still love our children, and you will guide and direct in every way. And, Father, I also want to pray for our pastors. Pastor Carl and Pastor Thad are gone. You know their responsibilities. You know Emily and Pastor Carl are being house parents for the youth. And I'd like to pray for our youth, Father, as they minister. Again, I pray that our youth would minister with a smile, that those that they are ministering to would see a joy in service and understand that it is a joy to serve you. Thank you for the opportunity we have to be here tonight. I pray that you would continue to bless in our activities, for I ask this in Jesus' name.
Heavenly Father, I come to you tonight on behalf of our country, watching what is going on in various cities and in various parts of our land is heartbreaking. And there seems to be very few areas where there is agreement on what is the best course forward. We seem divided, completely divided on most issues. And as far as I can tell, Lord, you're the only one that could bring unity out of this situation. Bring unity in the hearts and minds of those who are troubled, who are dissatisfied, who need to be saved, Lord, who need to know you, who need to be in fellowship in a good church. And I pray that there would be your Spirit poured out upon us for revival. And that this would bring a peace that we have not experienced in a long time. And I know you're fully able, Lord, and I know you would have this as your will for your people and for the lost. So I pray in Jesus' name.
Heavenly Father, I thank you so much for your grace and your mercy and your salvation and the many blessings that you pour out on us daily. Lord, we are so undeserving of anything good in our lives, and yet you choose to bless us. Lord, we come to you now, so many requests,
thank you so much just for the season that we're in, where we can just reflect on. Our nation's kind of been quiet, where we have a lot more time where we're more bored. And help us not to get distracted with that boredom, but help us to work on our families, help us to love on each other, help us to just push on and grow. I get to share my testimony, Lord, tonight. It's not necessarily my testimony, but something that you've done in my life, and Lord, you've allowed me to be a part of this. So I pray that as I get to share tonight, Lord, that I be an encouragement to somebody else, and that they see you in me, and they're encouraged by you in me, not just encouraged just a man to share, but that you have done these things in me to change me, and to grow in you. Thank you so much for 12th Street to just be able to give me this opportunity to encourage. And I just praise you, and I love you, and I just pray that we don't neglect your word, and that we choose your brother. Pray this in
Lord, we do come before you tonight. Thankful hearts for the way that you've blessed our families, our lives, the way that you've blessed this church, Pastor, Carl, we pray for them as they're away from us. We pray for each prayer request that was mentioned. I pray for Scott Randall's family especially. I pray for Joan Keegan. She's having a rough time in the nursing home. Just touch her body and heal it according to your will. Lord, I pray for this country, all the things that are going on with COVID-19, riots, the different things. God, I just pray that the Holy Spirit will use the people that it needs to get rid of these things. Send in federal troops to these different cities if that's what it takes. People that are just turning their back on you and rebelling. And God, let them know that you're the one that's in charge, that you're the head of the politicians, leaders of this country, that things will be done according to your will. And God, whatever it takes, I pray that you would do it. I pray that you just be with us as individuals. You'd help us to do in our life what we should. Be the Christian that you would have us to be, that your Spirit would lead us in that direction. I thank you for Robert, for his willingness to stand before the class and fill in for the pastor when he's gone, and just all be with him and give him the things to say and do when he does these. I pray, God, you just go with us, guide us, forgive us, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Go ahead and introduce.
All right. Is this thing even on? Is it on for the... I don't know. Anyway, I'll use it. Well, we're right here, so. Anyway, so everyone here and whoever's watching, I'm Brendan. I'm one of the youth leaders here. Been coming to 12th Street with my wife for the last 3 years or so. And I have the privilege of introducing one of my good friends here. We met, just real quick, I don't want to take half of his story, but we met about 6 years ago at Word of Life Bible Institute in upstate New York. And the first thing I said about him, not necessarily to him, but about him was, man, look at that guy. He's got a lot of tattoos. And first impressions, right? And now we are some of the closest friends, whether or not tattoos, whatever, it doesn't matter. But just first impressions, and now 6 years later, going to the same church, one of my closest friends. It's been great watching him grow and grow his family. He's got 2 little ones now. They just recently moved here from Pennsylvania and kind of starting over and looking for that biblical community. And I think that 12th Street has an excellent biblical community here. And so we got him convinced into coming. So I'll just stop right there. Zach Trimble.
All right, so before I go, I'd like to pray again, just for me. Lord, thank you so much just for the opportunity once again, just to lift you up, and I just thank you so much for the opportunity to get to share Lord, what you've done in my life and the way you've changed me and grown me and just showed me your purpose. And I just ask as I get to share, Lord, that if there's anybody listening here or even at home, Lord, I just pray that they are encouraged by you. Lord, I am just a piece, even in this story, and I just pray that, Lord, at the end of the day, that they see you and they see what you've done with the cross and just sending your son to die. Lord, that is, and to be rose again. And Lord, that's the purpose of why I'm here, Lord. You've saved me. And Lord, I just pray that they see you and the way that you can save everybody else. You've saved this world. So I just pray, Lord, that be the message that they truly hear. In your name, amen. All right, so my name is Zach Trimble. I'm originally from Orlando, Florida. I'm going to be 27, not this Saturday, but the next Saturday. So I'm still young. We'll always be young. I grew up in Orlando, Florida. I grew up in a home where my mother was verbally abusive to me, and my dad was physically abusive to me. I can remember my earliest memories of my father. I don't believe he was around when I was born. I believe I probably met him when I was 3 or 4, maybe. And I just remember he came out of prison, and he just implemented all the things that a father shouldn't, where he would put his hands on me and my siblings, and that was very tough. So there's a lot of hurt from a very young age, and to kind of speed things up, we were always leaving. We were always going to and fro to different places, and always moving. We just never were in one place. We ended up moving to Erie, Pennsylvania when I was about 14, and I had this just sense of just depression all the time, where I was just trying to find it somewhere, and unfortunately that led to drugs and alcohol, and it was very quick, and I was around 14 at this time. It was very quick where this wasn't working, so it was more drugs, more alcohol. Then I realized that, you know what, this isn't working. What about my parents don't care about me? What purpose do I have? So there was numerous times where I'd walk down to our train tracks and contemplate, praise the Lord that I didn't have the guts. That's something that I often thank the Lord. But there's just different, it was just everything in my life, I didn't believe it was my fault. I was raised in a very hostile environment, a very tough environment where I was almost forced to think these ways and cater to, Zach, you're nothing. You're pointless. You have no purpose here. Your mother hates you. Your father hates you. That's all I knew. That's the only thing that ever went through my mind. And it wasn't until I was 16 and I had walked through this. There's a teen center called Common Ground in Northeast Pennsylvania at the time, and this guy came out and he said, "Hey, what's your name?" "Oh, I'm Zach." I probably didn't say it in such a giddy way, but I told him I was Zach, and he's like, "Hey, you want to come in? We can give you a beverage and whatnot." And he started talking about this father that loved me. And I'm like, yeah, okay. There's a father that loves you. Okay. I end up leaving. I think it's somehow the Lord just brought me back to that place. Probably a week or so later, this guy goes on another rant. "There's a father that loves you. There's a father that loves you." And I'm like, give it a rest, dude. Give it a rest. And in my mind. I don't think I actually said that. But then I went home that night, and I was just thinking, like, drugs aren't working. Alcohol isn't working. I don't have the guts to take my own life. I guess I'll give it a try. It was literally, well, I guess I'll give this a try. I went back the next day, and he started really breaking it down that, there's a Father that loves you. You don't have to carry these guilts. You were wrong. Maybe these things aren't your fault. Maybe some of it is your fault. But there's a God who sent his son to just take that away from you. You don't have to live in that anymore. You don't have to walk in your pain, your suffering, because there's a God who wants those burdens laid at his own feet. And I was just like, man, this sounds great. This sounds great. But is it real? Shortly after, he invited me to, he just so happened to also be a pastor, a youth pastor at a local church. And I had, I went to the youth group, and he just kept these same things. Before I know it, I've been there for a year. And I didn't really quite understand like what it meant to, be a Christian. I'm not even sure at the time I really believed it, but I liked the motions of going through it. And then the pastor resigned. I think he moved a couple hours away. So when he left, I felt, wow, like my dad wasn't there. My mother really wasn't there emotionally or like just support at all. And now this guy, the only guy that's ever like given me any kind of hope really, just kind of pieces out of my life. So I had to make one of two choices. Either, okay, do I really believe that there's a Father that loves me? Or is there not a Father that loves me? And praise God that I really believed. So when I was 16, I gave my life to the Lord. I then started attending a different church. And very shortly after, probably about a year after, I just fell in love with the Word. I started reading very quickly. I started teaching a Sunday school class for middle schoolers. I was in high school. Don't know if I was equipped, but the Lord used me. I don't know. So I started doing that, and I fell in love with reading. And then very, very, very quick in my early Christian life, I was like, I went cliff jumping with some of my friends, and I had a buddy who jumped in, and he ended up breaking his legs and drowning. And through watching that, I had two other friends that were with me that also saw it, and I had to think, oh man, God, I gave my life to you. What do I do? I gave my life to you. I chose to believe that you're a good Father, and yet you let me see this. And I wrestled with that for a while, a long time. I think at least till probably I went to Word of Life in 2014. Really, the two buddies I was with, they went to alcohol as their crutch. So for me, it was two decisions. It was either continue to follow Christ or hang out with these guys and just drink away my pain. I already knew that didn't work. So knowing that, I was just like, God, like what do you want from me? Like what do I got to do? And praise the Lord again, I didn't turn back to alcohol. I just kept pressing forward. Ended up losing every friend. Now looking back, it's a good thing. Those friends weren't good for me. I ended up losing every friend I ever had growing up. Ended up clinging to the Word, wrestling so much, but God still led me back to the Word. And it wasn't even like a particular like passage or anything. It was just like I just found security in His words. And through this time, this happened in 2011 when I had watched my buddy pass. And shortly after, 2013, my father he was working on a job site and went to take a walk on the side of the road, and he was struck by a car, and he passed away. And I didn't really have a lot of pain for him or for me. I had a lot of pain for my sisters and my two brothers. And I hated my dad. And it wasn't until probably 2 years ago where I really was looking at my own kids, and I had to forgive him in my own heart, even though he's not here, present, as well as my mother. But I just remember, once again, another thing is like, God, like, what else? What else? And then the same year, 2013, November, I believe it was, my oldest brother was involved in some gang violence that was in Pittsburgh, and he had gotten in some things I don't really understand, but they had threatened to kill me and my family, or him and his family, including me. And I can just remember smelling ham in the middle of the night, and they had set fire to my house, my mother's house, and I just didn't know what to do. Everyone made it out alive. Everyone survived. No injuries, no nothing like that. Obviously, a loss of a home, but most importantly, everyone was safe. And I just remember kind of just being shocked once again. Like, God, why do I have to see these things? Why did you allow me to live in a home where I was just set up to fail? And when it shows you, why did you allow me to see these things? And I was wrestling with that, and again, God called me right back to His Word, and I was like, I need to get away. I need to get away from this environment. I need to get away from my family. Where can I go? Oh, I guess Bible school. Yes, in 2014, that's when I decided to go to Word of Life, and it's very odd when you go from such a hostile environment to such a bubble where everyone speaks in this Christianese kind of language, where some of it's nice and some of it's like, come on, that ain't reality. But just the 2 years I was there, obviously I met Brendan and became one of my best friends very quickly. We joked around, probably said stuff we probably regret, just being goofy and long hours in the dorm doing ministry together and just being morons, really. And I also ended up meeting my wife there, and she grew up in a home that was almost polar opposite of me, and I then started to see or hear some things that she was saying, like, Zach, you have such a cool story. You have such a cool story. And then I look at her and I'm like, your parents, you grew up in a church. Like, that is so cool. Like, I want that. Like, that's a cool story. You don't want the things that I had to. And I could just, it was like that point, it's like, you know what? God, I understand why you want me to see these things. I understand that you wanted me to go through some of these things because there is a lot of pain in this world. And God gave me a huge burden for some teens, specifically teenagers, because my story just so happens to be a lot of kids' stories these days. More frequent now than even my people my age. And so God gave me an opportunity right out of Word of Life on 2016. Sorry, not right out of Word of Life. God gave me my wife right out of Word of Life, where we got married in 2016, and I think 4 months later she was pregnant, and we were just like, I guess we don't get to enjoy each other, but little did we know we needed it. So my daughter was born in 2013, and she'll be 3. Sorry, not 2013. She was born in 2017. We had her in the past, and sorry. She was born in 2017 in September. She'll be 3 in about a month, and this is another thing that God knew we needed a child right away, so that we could just, I don't know. It was just God has a funny way of just showing Himself in ways that we don't understand until I guess we're there, and even then we don't really understand, right? But anyways, yeah. So God gave me my wife, and very shortly after she became pregnant, she started going through something in her pregnancy called hyperemesis, where I think she got really close. She's a little thing, but I think she got close to 100 pounds, and I think her regular weight was about 140. So she lost a lot of weight. I just remember laying on I called it a pallet, threw a bunch of blankets on the floor and laid next to her while she was on the couch, just thinking like, God, like why is she in so much pain? Like, you gave us this gift. She's pregnant. What's going on? And of course, she has her own kind of story behind it because she went through that. But in my mind, I'm like, God, I can't provide for her. I can't protect her right now. I can't do this. I can't do that. I'm almost worthless right now in this marriage. She's just sick, and I can't do anything. So that was tough as well. But once again, God came through, blessed us with a beautiful daughter. She was healthy, and from then on, things started turning around. I think a lot of the stuff that happened in my life just started making a whole bunch of sense. God gave me a clear calling to youth at the time, specifically at-risk teens. And in 2018, I had met a pastor there was a pastor that was attending my church at the time who said, hey, there's a really, really cool thing. I shared the door last year. I'm no longer there, but what it was just we got to implement faith and family and food to some of these teenagers, and where we just invest in them and get to love up on them. And for me, I was like, man, this is my dream job. I get to love on teens every day, all day. This is perfect. Thank you, God, so much. And then, we got pregnant with my son, and it was a similar pregnancy, so that was another kind of hit, but we were so prepared from the first one that she just really handled it well. She was a trooper, and we had our son in February, right before COVID hit. He's going to be 6 months here on the 5th of August, and he's such a happy-go-lucky little boy, but through all this COVID thing, it's weird. I might be one of the rare cases that I benefited spiritually from COVID, not necessarily the disease, but just the time we had where everyone was just stopped. It caused me to, obviously we couldn't open up our center for the teens. We couldn't do any of those things. So it drove me back to start thinking about the ministry, just the ministry and the people who are on staff and stuff. And it turned out that there were some theological things that I disagreed with strongly, and I had called some of them out, and I believe I did it in love. And I had I just came to conclusion through prayer with my wife, and just realized that, God, you're calling us somewhere else. And that was a huge blow, because I felt like, God, this is, through my whole life, you prepared me for these things, for these teens, these kind of teens, and God called us to leave, and I didn't necessarily know what that meant. This was literally 2 months ago. And me and my wife have been so hurt and broken, really these past couple months but God came through, and I'll share this with you. God brought us back to his Gospels, and me and my wife, we were reading, and we just kept stumbling on this whole, where Jesus is telling his disciples, don't take anything. Don't take food, water. And I think he just says, bring a tunic, is his words, an extra tunic, and just go. Follow me. For some reason, we were hung up on that, and we're like, should we just drop everything and go? We have 2 kids. Is that reality? Can that? And that's where we were just hung up on that for a couple weeks. And Brendan then calls me, and he's like, hey, what do you want to move up here? And I'm like, for what? I don't have a place to stay. He's like, I got you a place to stay with my parents, and his parents are incredible people. We've got the opportunity to build a relationship prior to moving up here with them, but we've been so blessed just to have a man of faith like Brendan just kind of step out and see like our needs that we just needed a biblical community, more important than any other time in our lives than right now. And Brendan just said, hey, like, get up here, dude. Get up here. Started sharing about this church in particular. Started sharing, obviously we know him and Shelby are incredible. We love them. They would probably be the first reason why we came up here. But he just called me and said, get up here. There's some people in the church I can try to talk to, maybe get you a job. And I was hopeful, and I had forgotten what God was telling us about just going. And then I think somehow, I don't know if Brittany, my wife, reminded me, or we just read again. I don't know. But we're like, is this God telling us to go? Is this God saying, get up and follow me? And I don't know why I ever asked this to God. I was like, is biblical community enough for us to move? Of course, God's like, yeah, get up and go. That's a little bit more important than money in your pocket. And I was like, okay. So we moved here. It was 4th of July weekend. And then I started wrestling with, where's my purpose? Am I providing for my family? I just got in my head too much. And of course, this guy over here is like, God's so faithful. You've been through so many other things, and now you're hung up by a job. And I'm just like, yeah, you're right, Brendan. You're right. And no, I just learned a lot that God is. I did get a job. I'm actually working with Mike. I'm not sure his last name. Kaler. He was so awesome. He got me a job at Klosterman's, and today was an incredible day. I'm going to share literally to this second, because the story's going to keep going even after today for what God's going to do in my life. But I got an opportunity to sit in a truck because I'm going to be delivering candy and just other things around the area. And I got to sit in a truck with I want to say he's the president of the company, finding out he's a believer and just getting to talk about scripture and just kind of like trying to make sense of this world right now and trying to like, what does God want us to do in this world? And I'm just like, you took me out of a ministry job to put me in a job that isn't ministry focused. I'm actually delivering cigarettes to convenience stores, and I get to talk about Christ with another believer who is a much a larger. There's a big age difference between us, and just like, so God, you gave me community even in my job. That's not ministry. I'm blown away. I've had an opportunity to meet with Pastor Thad and Pastor Carl both, and just the way they've just kind of showed love to us. Pastor Carl is a nut, and he has a way of breaking down your walls pretty quick and just kind of loving on you in a very just Carl, I guess, kind of way. I don't know if I've ever met anyone like him. And Pastor Thad, and just he's a crazy good listener. Just sat down and got to talk with him and share also this story with him, where he then asked me to share it with the church, and I was just blown away, and just the community God did. So I guess to wrap all this up, it's there was times where I wasn't obedient. God humbled himself, even if I had to see something that I don't know if some of the things I've seen is because of myself or something I did. If on a slight chance it was, then God used it for sure. But God brought me here for community, and I'm seeing it, and I've only been here for a week. And I just look forward to getting to know a lot more of you guys, and I pray that I can be as big as a blessing to each and everyone in this church, as so far everyone I've talked to since being here. So Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, Zach. Now, you mentioned one time your wife's name, Brittany. Okay, because the people out there, they don't know Brittany. Now that, and you got 2 children, McKenna and Colby. Okay, is that with a C or a K? That's with a K. Colby with a K. You only been here a week. Okay, a month, but in the church a week. Okay, I guess I heard. Yeah, it's okay. Okay. So, you know we have Sunday school classes? Okay. Because I haven't seen you. Have I seen you in any Sunday? No. Okay. He's turning red, folks. You should see this. He's turning red because he hasn't been in Sunday school. Lord's convicting him already. Okay? So, you've been here about a month, attending. I don't know who's watching, but you that are watching, of course, everybody here, I would encourage you to find Zach Sunday, this Sunday, next Sunday, whatever. Find him at some time and tell him what you think about his story, because he's indicated, and I wanted to tell him, you need to keep telling your story, because every time you tell your story, it will mean more to you and will mean more to others, and it will solidify the story, and it just grows and grows and grows, okay? So keep telling your story whenever you can. Keep telling your story. When we get done, I'm going to talk to him myself. I got some things I want to talk to him about. But I would encourage you to find Zach and his family and let him know that you love them. And I think he's probably seeing that already in our church, because we do have a loving church. So with that, I think we're going to close for the evening, and we can go home, and you at home can turn off your TV and think about what you saw, and think about the fact that right now you have an opportunity with a young family to help establish that family, not only in our church, but to help establish that family in our community and even in the community of God here on this earth. So think about that, and think about how you can come alongside Zach and his family and encourage them at this time. So with that, we'll say goodbye. All right, Zach. So you like youth, right? Or Youth for Christ.